The Steelers will get the ball first. Chuck Noll, in his 21st season, just celebrated his 58th birthday on Friday. Would like a little late birthday present, and it would be a surprise present if the Steelers could pull it off again. Treadwell, the Pro Bowl kicker, skids one low. Rod Woodson lets it go into the end zone. The Pro Bowler for kick return adroitness. Woodson won't get a chance on that one. Here comes Bubby Brister, the highest paid Steeler in their history, and his line protecting Jackson, Reenstra, Dawson, Long. Tunch Ilkin is on his way to the Pro Bowl, the smallest tackle in the league. Merrill Hodge and Tim Worley are behind Brister, the runners. They're big and strong. Hill and Lips are the wide receivers, with Malarkey, the tight end. When they go to their third down passing game, those men go out, and Dwight Stone, a speedster, and Mark Stock come in. From the 20-yard line, Brister, who played at Northeast Louisiana. Lips in motion. Tim Worley, the #1 draft pick out of Georgia, earns a tough yard into the Bronco orange. Michael Brooks spearheaded the charge, and here are the Broncos defensively. Their base defense has Carricker, Craig and Holmes on the front three. Brooks, Munford, Mecklenburg on the way to another Pro Bowl, and Simon Fletcher, he leads in sacks. Braxton Henderson, 2 new cornerbacks this year. Dennis Smith, a Pro Bowler, and the outstanding rookie from Arkansas, Steve Atwater, the other safety. Those two safeties hit with anyone. Into the eyes of Mecklenburg. Second down, 8. Brister to Worley again. He vaults to the 25, but it'll be third down and a short 5 for a first down. Here comes Mark Stock, a third wide receiver in for the Steelers. He's from the round draft pick. And for the Broncos now, they come with the extra
They're not a great conversion team. They haven't been all year. But we get a chance to look at an out pattern. Brister can throw the ball. We break straight up the field, sharply to the outside. The ball had a lot on it. And watching Brister warm up, I was really impressed. The first time I've seen him all year. Good, sharp, quick arm, quick feet. His problem will be he telegraphs his throws some, and also he has a little trouble sorting people out, so consequently his throws are a little late.
A big first down for the Steelers, who didn't want to start in the hole. Here comes Worley, and he runs through tackles to the 45-yard line, and a gain of 8.
Well, that is the power play. They call it 16 power. That play's been in existence since all the way back to the Paul Brown days. It's a double team block with a guard coming inside out, and you'll see the trap play right there by Reenstra, and he makes the kind of play that Denver was looking for all the way through, and they still didn't stop it.
We apologize for our audio technical difficulties. Tim Worley, 770 yards in his rookie year. He was the second back picked in the draft behind Barry Sanders, who led the NFL in rushing with the Lions. Second and a short 3. First call for Merrill Hodge, and the former Idaho State star won't be brought down until he gets to the 45-yard line, and another Steeler first down.
So far, Pittsburgh's doing what they planned to do, expected to do, and this is just what Wade Phillips didn't want. Pittsburgh at the line of scrimmage, cleanly blocking people. Now you see the power of this man, Worley, and this is the reason they drafted him, 7th pick in the draft. Look at that power.
It was Hodge, 33, on his first carry, and he, indeed, like Worley, possesses a great leg strength. 10 yards on that carry. First down at the Bronco 45. Lips right, and Hill left, and Worley out of the backfield in motion. They don't throw to him that often, and Hodge, another trap, and Hodge, running through tacklers, has 10 more. Michael Brooks finally gets him down.
Again, it's a pulling offensive line, smallish people that have real movement and quickness. You take a look at this pulling through the line of scrimmage with a double teaming. Now, Bunch Ilkin, a fine tackle, weighing 255 pounds, but he's a pulling tackle. And you see the use that Chuck Noll makes out of these quick offensive linemen, pulling, trapping. Denver knew these things were coming, but Hodge and Worley are the big backs can make it work.
Ilkin traces back to the days when Mike Webster was there as a tutor with the Steelers. Worley is stuffed on second and short. Might have gotten a first down anyway. Needed only a half yard. Dennison and Brooks in on the tackle for the Denver Broncos.
Dennison was right in the middle of that play, Dick. This is the third time they've run it. This time they read it properly, and he got into the point of attack and was there to make a clean, sharp tackle right down the middle.
Played at Colorado State. It is a first down for the Steelers. And that right side of the line, as you look at Dennison, who is an academic All-America, of the Steelers, Long is the shortest lineman in the league, and Ilkin is the smallest tackle in the league, and they're shoulder to shoulder. 74 Long, the short man, and Ilkin at 255, the lightest tackle in the NFL, but they produce.
Well, they depend heavily on their movement and mobility.
It's Hodge again. Tackles, missing tackles, and running through others, and he has 9 yards again. Well, that's a great way to operate. Get 9 yards on first down run.
Again, Terry Long leading through the hole, and then you've got that power of Hodge. So it's a beautifully executed place. And what's important here, you'll see the pull in the trap. You'll see Ilkin through the hole, and you'll see the clean blocking. And Denver isn't responding well enough to it. You see the trap right there. Here comes Ilkin through the hole. Good cut block. Then Hodge, with his power, is able to reach and break through tackles.
Second down and a half yard at the Denver 25. An impressive opening drive. Hodge needed just a couple of inches, maybe got 2 yards over Greg Cragen, the outstanding nose tackle of the Broncos. It's another Steeler first down for Chuck Noll.
Well, and speaking with Wade Phillips, this is what he didn't want. He felt that Denver this year, with more power in that defensive lineup, more strength, could stop this kind of running game. Now, whether Pittsburgh can keep it up for the entire game, we'll find out. But at this point, they're cleanly blocking the defenders from Denver. Cleanly blocking.
Weegee Thompson is in the lineup for Derrick Hill. He's wide to the left. Louis Lips to the right. And Lips in motion. Only one pass thrown by Brister on this drive. It's Worley on the sweep. And read well by the Broncos. Greg Cragen in the thick of that tackle, number 71.
Well, both guards, Rienstra and Long, pulling, tried to get around the corner, but they couldn't quite make the corner because of the support from outside. You'll see both people pulling here, but Cragen will make his play here across the line. He was going to be single block, and that's a brutal job for Dawson, the center. So you can see Cragen, Pro Bowl football player, right down that line of scrimmage, meeting the ball carrier at the line of scrimmage.
And a yard loss on the play, so second down and 11. Broncos come in with the extra defensive back. Look at Dennis Smith. He's right on the line of scrimmage. Brister guns and hits Dwight Stone at the 19-yard line. That'll be short of a first down, a gain of about 5 to Stone, who may be as fast as Rod Woodson. He's in that 4.2, 4.3 category.
Stone has speed. Now, he's their big play man for Pittsburgh, much as Sewell is for Denver. They'll use him coming out of the backfield as a wide receiver, and his strength as a flanker. With a slot formation away from him, he'll have strong safety coverage on him, which gives him a chance to really use his speed.
3rd and 6, the Steelers come in with 4 wide receivers. Stone and Thompson to the left. Lips and Stock to the right. Good protection for Brister. Now it breaks down. Brister might run it. He's got some room. He ducks down, and did he? Nope, stepped out of bounds at the 15, and that'll be short of the first down. Bring up 4th down and about a yard and a half.
Brister going to his left is a real problem for most defenses. The right hand to his team all week about this is one guy that'll go left anytime he wants to, and he still has the ability to make tacklers miss. So again, we're seeing the things that Pittsburgh does best. They're executing and getting them done. That was an excellent drive. If they score here, I'm sure they're right on schedule.
Gary Anderson. Gary was in the hold. And Anderson picks up where he left off in Houston as he nails one. His 50-yarder in overtime sent Pittsburgh to Denver today. So the Pittsburgh Steelers open with an impressive drive and get 3. 47, and they didn't get in the air very often. Gary Anderson with a 32-yard field goal, and it's 3-0 Steelers.
They're right on schedule. They had plays planned to call. They called them in the order they wanted them. They blocked cleanly when he attempted to throw. They got the protection they needed. Not bad.
Anderson sends it long but low to Ken Bell at the goal line. Bell 15-20. 25-30 and down at the 31-yard line. Bell was released the middle of the year after he went through a little fumble problems and then re-signed by Dan Reeves. John Elway, one of the game's superstars, comes in, and meanwhile a little push and shove on the far sidelines. Nothing serious. Ball is at the 32-yard line. Elway, who said he's not at all thrilled with the season this year, but he said I got 3 big games left, has Perry, Juriga, Karts, the rookie Wydell from Boston College, and Ken Lanier. Bobby Humphrey and Melvin Bratton, a brace of rookies behind him. Jackson and Johnson, the wide receivers. Kay, the tight end. Those 3 men go out when they go to their pass offense. Sewell comes in as a purpose back. Young, great hands, and Ricky Nattiel, a speedster. It's Bobby Humphrey, the rookie from Alabama, and he guns for nearly 10. Greg Lloyd and David Little with a tackle. Keith Willis, veteran, Gerald Williams and Tim Johnson, the front 3. Hinkle, Little, the leading tackler. Nickerson and Lloyd, who's their big play defensive linebacker. Woodruff and Woodson are the corners. Lake and Everett, the safeties. Valley State leads in sacks with 7. Second, that was a first down. He made the 10 yards. Vance Johnson in motion. Humphrey again. This time stacked up, gets a couple of yards out to the 44-yard line. Bobby Humphrey, with his fractured foot, many did not want to take a chance on Humphrey, and the Broncos, in a supplemental round, sacrificed a #1 next year to take Humphrey, and has he delivered? 1,151 yards in his rookie season.
Melvin Bratton, his running back mate, so to speak, is equally effective. Not so much running the ball, but as a blocker.
Second down, 7. Elway's first throw. Nope, he's going to have to run it. And David Little downs him across the 45-yard line. Little from Florida leads the Steelers in tackles with 104. He is the younger brother of a former great blocking lineman with the Miami Dolphins, Larry Little. So in comes the extra defensive backs to counter those wide receivers. Aaron Jones, top down lineman, joins the front 4. Gerald Williams, a linebacker, and then Larry Griffin and Delton Hall, the extra defensive backs for the Steelers.
The last play, Dick, both corners, Woodruff and Woodson for Pittsburgh, absolutely stuffed the both wide receivers that Elway wanted to throw the ball to. Consequently, he had to run with it. If they can get that done all day, they'll be all right.
Elway throws. Incomplete through the hands of Steve Sewell down at the 47-yard line. Gerald Williams was there to cover for the Steelers. So Pittsburgh holds Denver, and the Broncos, heavily favored, have to punt the ball, and Mike Horan, who was a Pro Bowl punter last year, comes in to kick. This year he averaged, as you can see, 40.4, but his real strength is in kicking the ball inside the 20. The left footer sends a beautiful spiral deep, and that's going to go all the way into the end zone. He really got some lift. So the Steelers get it back on their 20 with the touchback with 4:48 remaining in the opening quarter. Sublime to the ridiculous here in Denver, where they love their football, and what a year for them. University of Colorado with a chance at a National Collegiate Championship, and the Broncos looking toward another Super Bowl opportunity, and so it would be their 3rd in 4 years. But the Steelers leading 3-0 have the ball. Brister guns that one right through the hands of Weegee Thompson, the wide receiver from Florida State.
Brister, is the key for him is the accuracy and making his selections quickly. That time, Tim Worley released down the field, totally uncovered. he was 20 yards behind everybody else. This is the problem with Brister. He completed 48% last year, 55% this year. Excellent quarterback, but the training and the seasoning obviously isn't going to show up as well as it should in a playoff game like this.
Worley and Hodge split backs. 2nd and 10. Brister may be changing his play. And now moving in the line, and Carricker jumps in to Tunchilton.
This is just what they don't want. This is the problem. A playoff game.
Full start, number 62, offense. 5-yard penalty.
As Carl Mecklenburg indicated and reminded us before the game, there's so much intensity here, you can't wait around for very long. This time, Brister's trying to change the play. They can't hear it because of the noise. Somebody finally moves. This is what Pittsburgh can't afford because they're sort of outgunned offensively. They can't make these kind of mistakes.
And this is the noisy end, the closed end of Mile High Stadium that Brister and the Steelers are fighting. To the tight end Malarkey, and he's out to the 26-yard line. Mike Malarkey, drafted by Bill Walsh in San Francisco in '83, then sent to the Minnesota Vikings and acquired by the Steelers in the Plan B program.
That time Dennison was asked to cover Malarkey. Malarkey's just going to make a shallow cross, and we're going to try to get coverage from a linebacker here. They'll never really be able to get that done time after time, but the critical factor is that Brister is showing a lot of poise from the standpoint, good protection, and keeping his eye on his receiver.
11 yards on that play to bring up 3rd and 4. Incomplete to Lewis Lips, covered by Mark Haynes, and the Steelers will have to punt.
Steelers got into sort of a passing syndrome there, sort of forced to have to throw the ball, and that, again, is playing right up Denver's alley, so to speak. We're going to get a blitz up inside with Atwater coming, but he's going to be covering a back, really, then coming around. So they check the back, then if the back blocks, they then blitz. Brister's going to have a problem with those kind of things. They must get that running game going and keep it going. That's how they've won they've had their upsurge recently. That's what they're going to have to do today.
Van Johnson at the other end. Harry Newsome from Wake Forest had a punt blocked by Houston last week in the wild card game. Out of time, apparently. Yep, delay a game.
Bad series. Bad series.
Chuck Noll is a real coaching Gibraltar, and he starts 0-2 with those two disastrous losses, 51-0 and 41-10, well documented. But someone remind us, when he took over in '69 as the coach of the Steelers, they went through a 16-game losing streak, so maybe 0-2 wasn't all that bad, but he really has the strength to rally a young team.
Well, he learned so much from Paul Brown as a high school student. They followed Paul Brown's teams and studied them. He emulated Paul as a coach, and he shows that same patience that Paul Brown has demonstrated for so many years.
Vance Johnson with a fair catch, a good punt by Newsome of 50 yards, and it'll be Denver's ball when we return at the Broncos. Can't be too far. Old yard sale Enberg's on the way, and there's Bubby Brister taking a little extra oxygen. I'm going to ask you about that, Bill Walsh, whether you feel that helps your team. On first down from just inside their 30, it's Humphrey, and a flag down as Humphrey is tackled at the 35-yard line.
The size of the Denver line really demonstrated itself there. They've got big, massive offensive people. Gerald Perry, 305. Juriga, 275. Clark's 270 on the left side. And they knocked that Steeler defensive line off the line of scrimmage.
Holding against the Broncos, Gerald Perry, the 305-pound left tackle.
That's the kind of thing that Pittsburgh needs. They've got to get Denver in a situation where they can sort of predict what's coming next. Naturally, there's a possibility of a run here, but at some point, to get the first down, Denver's going to have to throw.
Johnson left, Jackson right. Humphrey with Bratton behind Elway. That's Kay, the tight end, in motion. And then the give to Humphrey. He doesn't get much. David Little right there to wrap him up.
Little, one of the really underrated players on this Pittsburgh team. You know, talking to Rod Russ, the defensive coordinator, Chuck Noll, they don't like to even point out a player. But you'll see Little right here, number 50, move laterally, and then square up in the line of scrimmage, bang, right down the middle. And that's what it takes out of that inside linebacker. But again, the Pittsburgh people don't even like to name individuals. They just want to talk about team concept, and that's what Paul Brown did. There's where Chuck's had his success.
Sounds like a coach at San Francisco, too. The next coach over there.
I worked for Paul Brown, too. Maybe I learned something.
On second and long, Elway slipping, but then eluding the rush and going long for Jackson. He's got it! And out of bounds at the 25-yard line. On the play. What a gun, Elway.
You'll see a release right here at the bottom of the screen going straight up the field. But look at Elway move inside the pass rush, up, then drills a beautiful shot right over the shoulder. Just Mark Jackson had it put right on the money.
John Elway, a big play quarterback. His numbers not impressive this year, but as he pointed out, the most important figures are those wins and losses, and the Broncos led the AFC. Here's Humphrey caught in the backfield. It breaks a couple of tackles but loses a yard.
Parnell Lake, strong safety, really penetrated that time. He's an interesting guy. Played at UCLA, a linebacker, but with great speed.
37 is Lake.
What they've done with him is making a safety out of him, so he's a super support man. He's got speed, and he attacks the play. That time he was 5 yards across the line of scrimmage by the time Denver got there.
One of 9 NFL rookies to start all 16 games this year was Parnell Lake. Steve Atwater for the Broncos was one of the 9.
So here's Sewell right in front of us here, Dick, in front of Lake. And they like Sewell outside and like to throw him the ball.
Quarterback draw, and Elway, actually the ball touched down by Elway as he slipped to fall. Keith Willis was there to cover him at the 26-yard line. Make it, well, it is the 26, but closer to the 27. And so now, third down and long for Denver. Keith Willis from Northeastern.
Elway had a quarterback draw, no question about it. He's got the ball in pretty good shape, but then as he starts forward, he slips. And he puts his hand down with the ball in it.
Surprised they didn't mark it there where he went down with the ball. Contact from Aaron Jones, the #1 pick of the Steelers out of Eastern Kentucky a year ago. And so that might take the Broncos, well, yep, out of field goal range. That is a huge play for the Steelers defense. 13
Jones,
yards.
Against a fine tackle, Perry is up the field. Real physical power, then throws his body, and Elway just by chance was moving that way. And Elway has a history coming out left and doing great things, but that time Jones was right in his face.
Rod Woodson at his 10 as Horan aims it toward the sidelines. And it's a good kick. They line it up at the 8-yard line. Well done by Horan.
There's a big pass rush. He gets a lot of momentum build up. He knocks Perry back. He gets off balance, and that finishes it.
At 2:57, you could see that 4.6 speed of Jones. On the shoes of John Elway.
Yeah, they have to put those on. The field is soft. They've been watering it all week. Those long cleats aren't what a football player wants, because they definitely slow you down when you want to move and avoid people.
Here comes Merrill Hodge breaking into the open, and has some blockers. Still on his feet with one man to beat. Simon Fletcher cuts him off, and Hodge goes out of bounds at the Denver 47-yard line.
Has Hodge developed? I hadn't seen him play until last week against Houston. He made some excellent plays. He had a 49-yarder last week, but you'll see him break tackles and he strides out. Now you see him start right, then cut back behind Mecklenburg, behind Atwater, but look at him keep his feet. Now he strides out well. He probably runs about a 4.740, but it's very efficient. Excellent job. He should have kept running there. He might have got 3 or 4 more yards, but excellent running.
Merrill Duane Hodge from Pocatello, Idaho.
What a surprise he is.
He was a 10th round pick in '87 by the Steelers. 45 yards on that run. Now Brister looking for a big one. Down the middle he goes to Worley. And Worley has a first down at the Denver 14-yard line.
Well, that's exactly what we talked about early in the first quarter. Early in the quarter, we talked about Worley being open down the middle. This time, Brister looked right and then came right back to him, and it was a zone defense, and he just split people right down the field. Now he's in motion, and you'll see him right here working straight up the field. So he was in motion. Now you see him working straight up the field, clean against the zone. Now the ball's thrown in very, very well, and there really isn't much the defense can do about that. Excellent job of throwing the ball by Brister.
Worley says, hey, that's a whole new experience for me. I only caught a few screen passes at Georgia. I like being a receiver. I can catch it, and that is the end of the first quarter here at Mile High Stadium. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, and today it's in Colorado, a 3-0 lead, and they're knocking on the door as we open the second quarter. First down at the 15-yard line. Dick Enberg with Bill Walsh. The winner meets Cleveland next Sunday in the AFC title game. Worley, who has just caught his longest pass of the year in motion, the give to Hodge. Another big hole, and Merrill Hodge rams for 8 as Mecklenburg makes the tackle.
Hodge really rips into that line of scrimmage. Again, Rienstra, this time Rienstra and Jackson pulling. Beautiful job of pulling, and we can take a look at it. And both of these men will pull and trap here, Rienstra and Jackson. But Hodge is going to break behind the play. So Denver's playing the blocking, and Hodge breaks behind people. You see him break back inside of people. That's excellent judgment and instinct by the running back.
They mark it at the 8, so it's a 7-yard game. Hodge already with 82 yards rushing. With Worley in motion, Hodge on a draw, and he's hit by Ron Holmes, a former #1 pick of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Holmes, who came here for a #4 draft pick in a trade and has really developed 9 sacks this year. And is he happy? He said, you know, I could have lived the rest of my life not knowing what a playoff experience was.
Well, this was to be a trap by Ilkin. He turns up the field too early and leaves Holmes unblocked. Now, if Ilkin had continued down the line of scrimmage, he'd have made that block, and most likely it would have been a touchdown. But these trapping plays by the tackle and the guard that Pittsburgh utilizes, Denver doesn't see them at all unless they play Pittsburgh.
Trap, trap, trap. These Steelers, they'll trap an usher. Shotgun on 3rd and 2. And a handoff, and Hodge has nothing but daylight. Touchdown.
Well, wide receiver Weegee Thompson, number 87, is in the game to block. And he does a great job of blocking, and he just cuts off enough to give us room to run with the ball. So we can take a look at this, and it's most interesting that Pittsburgh set up to throw the ball and then run a weak side sweep, as you would call it, and the Denver defensive backs were playing pass, and none of them could really support it.
So the Steelers 5 times inside the 20 in the postseason, and they've come away with points 5 in a row. And Anderson tacks on the extra point. So a 10-point underdog. The Pittsburgh Steelers have 10 points on the Denver Broncos early in the second quarter.
You see Thompson, number 20, beautiful block. Thompson leaves our screen, and he does a nice job, and everyone is just cut down. Beautifully executed.
So Thompson 87 and Stone 20 with the key blocks, and Hodge untouched completes what has been an outstanding first half for him. Had a 45-yard run by Hodge and a 32-yard pass Worley, and it's 10-0. Here's Darren Carrington, and Carrington hit at the 25, and down he goes.
We'll have a look at the touchdown, and it was a beautiful job of blocking. Dwight Stones is in motion at 190 pounds, and he blocks Holmes at 265. Now you see Thompson come to the inside and block. You'll see the backside guard Long coming around the corner with the ball. These 2 blocks just devastated the defense.
In fact, Long didn't have anyone to hit. Watch him.
Watch Stone right there. A great job of blocking. Now he can do about everything. There's Weegee Thompson, and of course they can run forever on that one.
The Broncos trailing 10-0, and Elway goes to work. The give to Humphrey. He's into the open. And Bobby Humphrey out to the 43-yard line. A gain of 13. Rod Woodson and Thomas Everett in the secondary for the Steelers with a tackle.
Well, Humphrey will be in that he'll be in that backfield all day, in a sense, and those safeties. They're going to have to make clean tackles on this guy, because he can sort of make you miss and at the same time run through you. He just catches the edge of the tacklers. And Lake and Everett both are going to have to really be alert to make clean tackles, or Humphrey can get the ball and just even it up very quickly.
He gets the call again and plows to the 45. He told us a couple of days ago out at practice, Humphrey, that he's only had 2 disappointments in his rookie year. One is he still burns everything as a bachelor cook. And the other is, he says, you know, when I was at Alabama, I could make people miss in the secondary, and doggone it, these guys tackle you.
Well, he has a unique style. I'm sure that Dan Reeves' staff saw it. He has a blend of speed, much like Marcus Allen, and power. And when you attempt to tackle him, he just takes the edge of you. You can't make a clean shot at him in the open field.
You mentioned Marcus Allen. That was Humphrey's idol growing up in Birmingham, Alabama. Humphrey, little hesitation, and Brian Hinkle was there to greet him at the 47-yard line. Keith Willis on the assist.
Well, the fans are a little disappointed in some of the play calling, but Denver has a plan. There isn't any question about it.
Keith Willis is injured on the play, the veteran tackle. And they attend to the native of Newark, New Jersey, who has been a consistent sack leader with these Steelers. So we have a timeout, 11:39 left in the opening half. From the 47, Willis went off under his own power. Appears he'll return.
Denver just has to generate offense right now. They haven't really stopped Pittsburgh yet.
Elway guns, has his man. First down, Michael Young. He's that third down receiver. In fact, Elway said he runs the best patterns and has the best hands of a talented receiving corps. Young, a Plan B free agent from the Rams.
Well, they do have quick receivers. Elway rated these guys for us. Vance Johnson, noted for quickness. Mark Jackson, really tough, but Young, excellent third down, medium range receiver.
12 yards on that pass. First down as Denver invades the Steelers half of the field for the second time. Melvin Bratton, play action. Elway. Ooh, hit immediately was Mark Jackson by Rod Woodson. Woodson, a world-class hurdler, came flying up to meet him.
Well, he made the big play last week that caused the fumble in the overtime, and that demonstrated what he has. He's one of the fastest people in football. He ran the high hurdles legitimately in 13.29. And look at the hitting power. He was considered most likely the best defensive backfield prospect to come out of college in maybe 10 years. And he's playing up to it.
That is the #1 pick from Purdue in '87. 3 yards in the pass play. We may have had an offside on the Steelers. The throw by Elway, nevertheless, is a first down throw to the 25-yard line as Mark Jackson cradles the catch, and another gain of a dozen.
There just isn't any heat being put on Elway right now, and it appears that if he just were to throw the ball down after down, Pittsburgh would really have its problems. This is simply a pivot hook, bursting down the field, planning, but now Elway's thrown the ball already, and here it comes. So Woodruff really had no chance to respond to that.
First down inside the Steeler 25. Looking for Kay, the tight end, dumps it off instead to Humphrey. Humphrey breaking tackles to the 18-yard line. A good effort by the 22-year-old.
Well, that demonstrates the spontaneity that Elway has. Right down to the last second, much like Joe Montana, he can still make a play just as he starts to go to the ground. And of course, he's throwing to a great young player. That combination really is a combination that the Steelers don't have. So the Steelers are going to have to keep the lead and not let these guys take over the game.
Humphrey, the workhorse on this drive, 2nd down and 4.
No pressure.
And he throws it away. Vance Johnson was the intended receiver. Dwayne Woodruff, the last of the Steelers that links to their 4 Super Bowl titles. Woodruff was in his 10th year from Louisville. And what glorious years those were for the fans that would crowd Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh.
Well, the same atmosphere and attitude is being developed right now. Chuck Noll, over the years, had the continuity, had a philosophy of hard work, keeping quiet, low profile. The bottom line, according to Chuck, and do I agree with him, is winning the Super Bowl. Anything short of that, and it's just cosmetic.
Elway may have drawn him offside. He does. This is a free play, and it's a first down down at the 5. No, he trapped the ball. Sammy Winder did not come up with it cleanly, but Elway, who has a talent for drawing that defense offside, gets an easy 5 and a first down.
Don't be surprised if Elway throws 35 to 45 passes today, because he's going to get the protection. You'll see him drop back here. He gets the offside, but watch the pass protection. See that space between him and anybody near him. He could have moved right or left there and thrown the ball. So that looks like what could develop as a real problem for the Steelers. Pass rush.
8:29 left in the second quarter. 10-0 Pittsburgh, but a first down for the Broncos at the 13. Humphrey to the 10 and perhaps the 9. Tim Johnson, first Steeler, number 78, in on the play with help from Gerald Williams, the nose tackle.
Gerald Williams had a great game against Houston. He's come along. He's a big guy, and he has some quickness. And running inside, Karts is going to have a hard time unless he gets a lot of help.
Can't see the other numeral. 95 apparently is the injured player, Greg Lloyd, and they could ill afford to lose Lloyd, who leads in sacks and has 3 interceptions, the outside linebacker. Willis did return. As you can see, he's in the game now after being shaken up in this quarter.
Well, that size differential, Dick, it could be a problem. And as a game wears on and fatigue sets in, the bigger man often can make the difference. And right now, that Denver offensive line outweighs and probably much stronger a unit than the defensive group for Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's going to have to depend on fundamentals.
Rod Rust, the new defensive coordinator, just as Dan Reeves has made some bold changes, including assistant coaches. Chuck Noll has 4 new assistants this year as well, Rod Rust being one of them.
I worked with Rod at Stanford many years ago. He's one of the great technicians in the game, and he has a quiet way about him, but people play for him. Wherever he's been, the defense has improved. So Chuck made an excellent move there.
So Greg Lloyd assisted off the field. Gerald Williams, a rookie from Purdue, will replace him, number 91.
But this man has maintained a philosophy and maintained a work ethic that has brought this team back. And of course, they feel that the future is in the 90s.
Second down 7 for Elway. Jackson left, Johnson right.
Again, pass protection all the time he wants.
It's deflected and almost intercepted, and a flag is down. And we might have a hold, at least that's the signal being given by the Broncos, against the Steelers. And so it is.
Well, Humphrey was complaining, so most logically, he was trying to get out on a pass and couldn't get there.
Gene Barth's microphone is not functioning. Well, I guess it is. So the automatic first down. Chuck Noll was talking to you about the officiating, and it's interesting. He and Dan Reeves are exactly on opposite stands when it comes to instant replay. Noll doesn't like it, and Reeves is very much for it.
Well, they both desperately would like to see improvement in the officiating and more uniformity. I think everyone in the league that's part of the football business aspect of the game wants that.
Bobby Humphrey dragged down just as he was going to lurch to that goal line. They both are strongly in agreement that the officiating this year has been at the lowest level in a long time.
Well, you see, coming down the line of scrimmage, Mobley, a tight end in motion, making a big crack block on the outside linebacker Hinkle, and that gave Humphrey a good chance to just break for the goal line.
He comes out at 2nd and goal at the 1-yard line. Greg Lloyd, number 95, has returned for the Steelers. Bratton and Winder behind Elway. It's Bratton, a fullback from Miami, and he doesn't get in.
Boy, those Steelers are tough. Nickerson from Cal, by the way, really made a shot. Both Little and Nickerson, good, clean shots, and they finished it up. That usually isn't going to be enough, but look at the initial contact and then the follow-up contact stuffed that play.
Watch 54, Nickerson, as he helped out Little. 3rd and goal. The Steelers are saying that Clarence Kay moved early, but the officials didn't see it that way. It's offside. Steelers, touchdown Denver.
Well, Kay did move. There isn't any question about that.
But he is not an interior lineman, and he's allowed to be able to move.
Well, it looks as though he moves, but he might be responding to the defenders. But we'll take a look at it.
Treadwell has the extra point, barely. Look at this. Someone may have gotten a hand on that one. It's 10-7.
You'll see right here, you'll see some movement right there, but you'll also see movement here. So who's to say?
And Bratton over the top for the touchdown. Treadwell just does add the extra point, and with 6:22 left in the first half, it's now a 10-7 Steeler lead.
Now you'll see this movement before the snap, but you'll also see these people move almost together. There's the defensive movement, then the offensive movement. They could have called that either way.
75 yards in 12 plays, Denver touchdown. Through as Aaron Jones deflected it for Pittsburgh. It's 10-7. The kick on its way to the best kickoff return man in the NFL, Rod Woodson. Woodson hit down by Scott Curtis, who is the top special teams tackler for the Broncos on the year.
You'll see the touchdown, a lot of people moving, but over the top we go, and by that time the Pittsburgh people had sort of lost their edges on the blockers.
And here's the extra point.
You'll see the extra point block right here. There isn't a relaxed type of play ever with the Steelers. 97 up over the top, blocking an extra point. They're so intense, there just is not a routine play under Chuck Noll.
Bratton with a touchdown. Now the Steelers, Brister goes to work. Passing on first down the middle to Malarkey. He's got it in a first down at the 49-yard line. Atwater made the tackle, and Malarkey slow getting up. That's a play that they've been working on, especially for Denver. Chuck Noll thought that they could use the tight end down the middle.
Well, they split a zone. Excellent pattern by Malarkey, but now Malarkey will widen and then go up the field because people aren't going to be able to get to the ball quickly enough. The linebacker will drop, but there's a big hole. It takes real concentration to catch that ball. You'll see that as the ball gets to Malarkey, so do the Denver people. So here it comes. There's the big hit, but he really demonstrates poise. He's down, I guess, because of it.
Malarkey, who was cast in the shadow, and with the 49ers, it was tough for you to keep him. You had John Frank and Russ Francis, and he went to Minnesota, where it was Steve Jordan, a Pro Bowler, starring for the Vikings, finally getting his chance as the starter in Pittsburgh, and had his best year, 22 catches.
Well, he has excellent hands, good nimble feet. He's not the strongest blocker, but he's a good all-around athlete, and working against his zone defense, a big man like this can make this kind of a catch where a smaller man will have the ball jarred loose.
This could be a very serious injury if he's unable to return, because well, he looks just as Lloyd and Willis before him, shaken up but able to come back, and apparently it was a blow to the head from the actions of the trainers for the Steelers.
Here he is up the field. You'll see the movement all the way over, and as he catches the ball, he gets the helmet right in the chin, really. Atwater, one of the great young players in the league, is there to make the stop. He knew he was late. He figured that helmet might jar up everything.
Well, Malarkey still just to a sitting position, and obviously he was KO'd for a while.
See, that was a shot But again, great catch. Then neither team's getting enough heat on the pass.
5:50 left in the opening half. It's a reverse, and it is Lewis Lips tripped up as he gets to the line of scrimmage. Good play by Ron Holmes from the University of Washington.
Simon Fletcher just penetrated, blitzed on the backside, and sort of took the play apart. There wasn't anywhere for Lips to go. You'll see the pressure coming right on our left. There he is. There's Fletcher. He stuffs everything. So Lips has nowhere to run but maybe get back to the line of scrimmage.
Fletcher, 73, lost his father suddenly this past week, playing with all that emotion today. Second and a long 9. O'Shea in motion. Worley has blockers. Outside, and now it's a foot race and knocked out of bounds, saving a touchdown. Michael Brooks got Worley off the field at the 31-yard line, and the Steeler running game is most impressive.
They really are doing a great job. Now they put O'Shea in motion, and he was able to get a big block on the outside, and that really made the difference. Now, you'll see Hodge in front, but you'll see O'Shea making a nice block, and up the field we go. Worley's got good activity for a man that size. Both Hodge and Worley do a great job.
He's big, almost 230 pounds, and he was the North Carolina high school state 100-meter champion. Leachy Thompson, a good block, 87 on that run as well. This time it's Worley going right. And Carricker from behind makes the play. Alfonso Carricker was a #1 pick of the Packers in '84, and he and Holmes have stories that are so similar. Both #1 picks. Carricker, Green Bay. Holmes by Tampa Bay. Neither one lived up to all the high hopes of being a #1 and were let go. Carricker picked up as a Plan B free agent. Holmes for a #4 pick. Here they are starting ends with Denver.
Sometimes if they're just properly motivated, and a coach knows how to utilize whatever talent they have and whatever strengths they have, Wade Phillips can do that. They can be reborn. We did it a number of times in San Francisco, and Denver surely does it well.
Time running down in the second quarter. On second down, Brister. He's going to throw it away. And Brister said that's what he thinks he is doing best this year. When he doesn't have anyone open, don't take any chances. Don't be foolish. He is an enthusiastic, high adrenaline guy, and he understands he has to keep that under control.
Well, you hear two different stories. Wade Phillips thinks he's too emotional and can get too emotional and try to do things that really aren't in the plan. Chuck Noll says he wants that. It's just what Terry Bradshaw's always had. And that dimension can make a big difference, that intensity.
Well, they said he's 100% better this year. Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, he'll be 200% better next year. 3rd and 9. Brister completes it to Lewis Lips right at the yardsticks. Tyrone Braxton made the tackle. It's going to be close for a first down.
I don't think, I haven't seen Pittsburgh this much, Dick, but this may be the best football they've played all year, and it's just at the right time. They're throwing the ball effectively today. And in the past, early this year, they didn't have any kind of a passing game. So there's some good things occurring out here. Really growth on the part of this Pittsburgh team.
Well, statistically on the season, Pittsburgh was dead last in passing, dead last in total offense, and yet here they are in the second round of the playoffs.
Well, that man has brought him along, and he's done it before with another group. Maybe he can get it done again.
He stretched the chains, first down. In fact, Noll, who was reluctant to take any credit at all.
Well, here's Lips coming up the field. I had thought he lost a step, but Chuck says no. He says this man can still play. Look at that clutch catch he can make. Now, again, Brister throws the ball much like Bradshaw. This is really a surprise. The quick delivery, the tight spiral, right on the money.
First down for the Steelers with 3.5 minutes remaining in the half. They lead 10-7.
Big scrap.
Merrill Hodge gets only 2 or 3. Cragen was there, number 71. Back to Noll and this team and why it has developed so dramatically from a team that seemed down and out, and they were crying for Noll's scalp that the game had passed him by, to a team that now is even shocking Denver today. He says this is my second best draft, and he called on the memories of 1974, a year when they got Swan, Stallworth, Lambert, and Webster. He said this rookie group compares with that one.
That's what it takes. But also the patience of a coach like Chuck Noll. Patience. The patience of the Rooney family. The patience of the organization. And Chuck's bottom line is he's a teacher. Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator who's worked with Chuck for 13 years, has great admiration for him as a teacher.
65 offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
John Jackson, the left tackle, a second-year man, a long-range pick, a 10th rounder, and really developing on that left side.
He's supposed to be the best one-on-one blocker, the one guy that can knock people back. In this case, he leans. He leans. And you get a veteran like Holmes in front of him. Holmes knows he can take advantage of that.
That was second down and 12. White Stone in motion. Draw to Hodge. And Merrill Hodge is down to the 22, maybe the 21, and he is close, Hodge, to 100 yards today. And if indeed, to the 17-yard line. And the Denver Bronco defense, the stingiest defense in the entire NFL in allowing points, has not allowed a 100-yard rusher the entire season. And Hodge apparently is about to get it in the first half. Timeout, 2 minutes. That's a good luck charm. A fan who's held on to it. Boy, that's a dyed-in-the-wool fan. And Bubby Brister has to call time here. He saw something that didn't work and didn't want to take a chance on 3rd and 6 at the Denver 18-yard line. There's Tom Moore. We talked about in his great admiration for Noll's tremendous teaching. He says he teaches players, he teaches coaches.
Well, they have a plan. If they could get 3 points here, at least 3, they could go in feeling darn proud of themselves.
Yeah, the Rams used the 3s, the field goals in the second half to finally tie the Giants today and beat them in overtime. Stay with us at halftime. We'll have the highlights for you of that earlier NFC battle. Stay tuned to NBC tonight as well for a great lineup. Brand new live starring Barbara Eden, followed by the comedies Ann Jillian and Sister Kate. And at 9 p.m., 8 Central and Mountain, NBC presents a world premiere miniseries based on the true story. Go behind the Noriega headlines to witness the daily battle between the billionaire drug lords and the agents of the DEA. Drug Wars, the Camarena story tonight on NBC. 4 wide receivers in, 3rd down and 6. Brister dumps it off to Hodge, and Hodge has a first down at the 8. Steve Atwater made the tackle. Well-designed play.
Beautifully done. We call that an arrow pattern, in which Hodge would start in and then plant and go back out. And that's the kind of, I'll be honest with you, Dick, we just designed that some years ago for San Francisco. You'll see Hodge up, start in, and then pivot and slide back out, and he'll lose his coverage man as he does it. Starts in, thinks there's a cross, outside again. Hodge is tough.
He has 100 yards rushing. He picks up 9 more on that play on the reception. Now it's Worley's turn. He's cut down in the backfield. Knifing through was number 90, Ron Holmes.
Again, they attempted to trap. They pulled Rienstra, they pulled Jackson, but Holmes penetrated, and when you penetrate against a trapping team at the wrong angle, they can't do anything with you.
Clock running, 56, 55 seconds left in the half. Dan Reeves' team outplayed in this opening half by the Steelers, who lead 10-7 and have it second down and goal at the 9.
Steelers taking a lot of time because they're going to have to take some at the line because of the noise factor. Tremendous noise. Den of noise.
Brister dumps it off incomplete to Worley. Michael Brooks was right there in front of Worley, and Brister comes over to say something to his halfback. I think he should have run a little different pattern. It was apparent that Brister was not happy with what Worley. In fact, Tim Worley admitted yesterday it's what he doesn't do well yet, run crisp cuts.
You can see there he was very indecisive, and Brooks just nudged him. I think Worley wanted to run that arrow pattern himself, but was just knocked off balance.
Steelers will take a timeout here with 31 seconds left. Though the clock had stopped, Brister on 3rd down and goal wants to make sure of this call with Chuck Noll. Bubby Brister, you know, his mother became nationally known in that Houston game with her rooting. Mother Frances, who drove a black and gold Cadillac, Steeler colors, that Bubby gave her for Christmas from Louisiana over to Houston. She's here. She flew in today, but he told the other side of the story. His father, who was a high school football coach in Monroe, Louisiana for 25 years, is now his roommate. And there he is, Walter Andrew II. Bubby's the 3rd. And Coach Andrew, he's now an all-purpose guy for Bubby. He answers the phone. He's his agent. He works out his deals. He's his counselor. He's his roommate.
It's what a great experience for him, too. Be right with his young guy.
Mama's not worried at all. 3rd and goal at the 9. Into the noise of the closed end for Brister. Touchdown, Deluxe.
He drilled that ball in. He drilled it in. That's a Terry Bradshaw throw. They hooked the man between people, and Lips sat in there and just waited for that shot. Beautifully done. Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, has done an excellent job in bringing Brister along and putting this together.
Low man on the quarterback ladder and touchdowns thrown, but a big one here to close this first half as Anderson kicks the extra point and the Steelers lead 17-7.
Lips went in motion on that play and started up the field, and Denver just sort of backed away and gave him room. You'll see him here. You'll see him start up and then sit down right inside of this release. So the Denver people were sort of sorting men out, and then there's a hook right between them. Beautifully done. Now Lips is one of the best receivers in the 80s, and now he's got a great young quarterback to drill the ball to him.
And Francis and Walter Brister are happy with Bubby's bomb to Lips, who caught 50 passes, leading the Steelers this year, had 5 touchdowns, and it's 17-7 with 26 seconds left in the half. Well, he's got Mama's energy, no question about that. That's not Daddy's emotions, that's Mom.
Well, you know he hasn't thrown that many touchdown passes. He only threw 9 during the entire year. So here he's drilling that ball in. This team, if it were to lose this game, has made great progress just being in the playoffs and preparing for this kind of a contest.
Wonder what they're thinking in Cleveland right now, much less here in Denver and Pittsburgh. It's Carrington on the low skidding kick, and he's out to the 33-yard line. Now Elway has 20 seconds to try to come up with something big and at least get into field goal range. Flag down against the Steelers, offside. 77-yard drive and a dozen plays well executed.
The kickoff team, penalty refused, first down.
Well, Elway, if anybody can do it, can pick up the 30 or so yards necessary to get a field goal. It'll be interesting to see just what kind of pressure Pittsburgh can put on him in this situation. Oh, wait a minute.
Steelers late getting on the field defensively. They thought that the Broncos would make them kick it over again. Elway throws to this side, complete. Jackson doesn't go out of bounds, and now he's got some blockers. Rod Woodson, he outruns him. One Boilermaker against another, and Jackson goes out of bounds and over the top of the hot seat. 8 seconds left. They're at the 42 of Pittsburgh, a 26-yard play.
Just one more completion, and they can get it done. Excellent decision with just a few seconds left in the half. He's just going to burst down. Jackson's going to stop, and now his movement's going to take him across the field. And he makes a little miss. Now it's a foot race, and Woodson takes a little bit of a gamble trying to go for him.
Time before, well, now Elway will use a timeout before he puts it in play at the 42 of Pittsburgh. Mark Jackson and Rod Woodson were teammates at Purdue, involved in that last chase. So precious seconds left, and to give the Broncos an emotional lift, a field goal is a prime conversation right now.
Well, Elway can take a shot inside. He has timeout with 8 seconds. He can throw the ball to the inside and get a quick timeout and try to get the field goal.
Well, Treadwell's longest of the year is the 46 yards, which means that they need to get the ball down around the 30-yard line. Another 12 yards for him to have a good chance. A reminder to our viewers, we'll be selecting our Budweiser most valuable player at the conclusion of today's playoff game.
The problem can come up here. Now, whoever catches this ball inside, if they run with it and take a lot of time running with it, just 4 or 5 seconds, the clock will run out on it. So you almost have to catch it and go down, take a timeout, and kick a field goal.
Steve Sewell is a man to watch in this situation as they go with the 4 wide receivers. Elway down the middle. There's the complete at the 25-yard line to Natil with 2 seconds left. Timeout. Boy, there was a rocket from Elway, and that'll give Treadwell a decent chance.
Well, you sort of anticipated it. Pittsburgh got into too much of a safety kind of defense. Everybody backing off and giving too much room, and Elway can get the ball there so quickly. Again, had Natil caught the ball and attempted to run, time would have run out on him. So he was really lucky. The ball came low, and he was on the ground quickly.
Treadwell will kick from around the 33, a 43-yard attempt. Treadwell, a rookie from Clemson. One of the many emotional moves this year was the argument for contract by Rich Carlos, a very popular citizen of Denver. Contributed so much to charity. They liked him a lot, Carlos, but he held out, didn't sign. Treadwell was in the wings. He not only replaces Carlos, but wins the Pro Bowl honors as the place kicker, and this one is for 43 yards to end the first half. It is, hits the upright and goes through. A yellow painted field goal for the Broncos, and it's 17-10 at the intermission.
It hits the upright and makes it. Gee, that is really a close one. Oh, gee. Bouncing the other way. How many games have been lost with that ball bouncing the other way? Well, a great job by Chuck Noll and his staff. They're in the ball game.
David Treadwell at least pulls the Broncos within a touchdown as we look ahead to the second half. But first to NFL Live and Bob Costas. NFL Live and Bob Costas. Led by Merrill Hodge, 139 against a tough rush defense. Yards passing even, total yards to Pittsburgh, no turnovers. Possession time Pittsburgh, and they lead 17-10.
Well, that 251 yardstick at half is just about what Pittsburgh's been getting for an entire game throughout the regular season. So they've really moved the ball.
Another important statistic, we'll give that to you after this throw by Elway, deflected and almost intercepted by Little. And that is that the Steelers, despite the fact that they had an up and down and a rough year, when they led at halftime this year, they won the game 9 out of 9 times.
Elway, they had a plan on that last pass that looked pretty good, but they didn't account for a linebacker jumping up and batting it down. But Elway can throw the ball in this game. He's not getting a lot of heat as he drops back, and with that great arm and those receivers, that could sort of handle the game for them.
It was Greg Lloyd, 95, who got a piece of the last pass. Elway throws it too low for Bratton, incomplete. He had Humphrey wide open in the other flat. Keith Willis, 93, applying pressure.
Well, that's 2 misplays coming out at halftime. But they do have the talent. They do have the great passer. But I'll tell you this, Rod Woodson and Dwayne Woodruff are good physical corners. When they hit you, you know it. And their safeties are real active guys. So down the field, Pittsburgh won't be that bad, but it's the pass rush right now that would concern me if I were Chuck Noll.
3rd and 10. Sammy Winder into the backfield now with Elway. 4 wide receivers. Jackson in motion. Elway, a little pressure, steps up. Here he comes, chased from behind, breaks a tackle, and down he goes, fumbles the ball, and it's covered by Denver, but they're going to rule the ball down when Elway landed hard at the 37-yard line, and he's still on his hands and knees.
Aaron Jones has been taking a big, wide pass rush up the field on the top of the screen, and coming up underneath, Elway each time has been able to step right up through that big hole. He's been able to step up there. That's where the big pass early in the first quarter came, and that's where his run has come. So Jones is going to have some help inside, or Elway can move in there the entire game.
And a lot of people say, well, Elway looks like he lumbers on. You think this big guy quarterback Elway isn't fast? The man that was chasing him is Rod Woodson, who finished 2nd to Darrell Green as the NFL's fastest man in 1988, and he couldn't tackle Elway from behind.
Yeah, Elway has good speed for a big man, and he's not a young guy anymore, but he's got good activity. Early in his career, it was like Terry Bradshaw. They were so quick and active, they could run the ball every time they dropped back.
It's 4th down and a yard. Horan, and now here's a trick play. Horan comes up, and Kubiak, the backup quarterback, moves up under center. Boy, this is a gamble timeout being called by Pittsburgh. They took too much time, and so the Steelers wisely spend a timeout. But what a gamble from your own 37-yard line.
Who knows really what they'd have finally done. They might have just taken too much time or something of that nature, but it didn't seem normal. But fortunately, people were sharp enough to get a timeout call.
Were they just trying to draw him offside? No, Reeves had more in mind. He didn't want them to call timeout. 14 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. The game's first turnover.
Well, Worley's had a little history of fumbling, and he's carrying that ball very loosely. The ball's hanging out there and was just knocked loose. Dennis Smith, talking before the game, said, we can get that ball jarred out of there. And it happened. Now, this could be the big break of the game. Worley just didn't run in there for that ball.
Drake Cragen was in the thick of the tackle, and Tyrone Braxton, who led Denver with 6 interceptions, picks up the ball. There's Cragen's tackle. Mecklenburg in there as well. Now maybe the instant replay folks will take a second look as to whether or not Worley was down. He was hit hard, leaves the field under his own power. So far, no indication that they're reviewing the play.
That was really a rookie play on Worley's part. Carrying the ball that loosely and sort of trotting into the line of scrimmage, looking for a place to run. Meanwhile, you've got people with that intensity after you, the ball's going to be knocked out of there.
So from the 38, Elway drops back. He wants to go long. He does. Johnson, touchdown.
Confusion in that secondary that time. A post pattern right down the middle, and no safety there to take care of it. Both safeties open to their outside. When the play was over, they're both looking at each other with their hands up. There was a mistake.
Treadwell kicks this one high and cleanly after just barely getting one through on the first Denver touchdown and hitting the upright on a field goal.
James Johnson straight up the field, just bending into the post. No one there.
Field judge had the best coverage on Johnson. One play after the fumble, Elway to Vance Johnson, a 37-yard strike. It's a new game with 13 minutes left in the 3rd. Fans fans are loud now at 17 all. There was a unsportsmanlike penalty against the Steelers on the extra point. So David Treadwell, after 15 yards, will kick off from the 50-yard line. And one must always be alert to an onside kick in this situation.
Well, Pittsburgh's going to have to get it back together quickly. They had that very sloppy fumble, and now the big play where they blew a coverage.
He does an onside. It sends a high bounder to Woodson. And Rod Woodson trying to use his speed. Now he reverses his field. Gets a couple of blocks. And another. And finally out of bounds at the 20. He ran 60. That finally got it back to the 20. And it was mindful of Bill Walsh, that touchdown. Send a receiver deep, clear out for another deep receiver.
Thomas Everett, the weak safety, makes a critical error by favoring Kay down the field. Meanwhile, the post pattern hits right in behind him. Now, there's a play fake, but it really doesn't make any difference. A critical error there by Thomas Everett, reacting to the tight end when you've got Vance Johnson breaking to the middle. You see Everett's back turned to the play. Johnson's got all day just to wait for the ball.
12:47 left in the third quarter. Vance Johnson had a great season, 76 catches. Didn't make the Pro Bowl. Brister under pressure. Gets out of the grass, throws to Hodge. What a play! And Hodge gains 18 yards to the 38-yard line.
That was so close to a sack. Brister, it looked as though they had grasp and control. But Brister just for an instant broke clear. But he does have all these things that Tom Moore, no, that looks close. But Tom Moore, offensive coordinator, said this will be the best quarterback in the NFL in 1992. Well, pretty strong comment, but Brister does have those innate qualities that could take him to that lofty spot.
Boy, that was a gutsy 19, they say now at the 39. Now it's Hodge. Breaking tackles again out to the 45-yard line. No runner has enjoyed any sincere success against the Broncos this year, but Merrill Hodge certainly is a career high that follows a 100-yard rushing day at Houston last weekend.
Well, Hodge is so strong physically, but up front, excellent blocking by the tight end, by the right tackle, and Hodge had a chance to get to the line of scrimmage with some momentum. Nobody there to meet him initially.
Mike Malarkey has not returned to tight end. Terry O'Shea is the man in motion. Worley, after his fumble, running hard to the 50-yard line, appears to have a first down, and he took another pop. And that's one of the hazards of getting a reputation of being a fumbler. It makes those defensive players hit you all the harder.
Well, they thought that would be the difference, and I suppose it could be for this game. Worley's going to have to really get it together. That time, he ran with some real determination, like it really meant something. Mecklenburg talking to us before the game. What a different experience for a rookie. The intensity of this game, the crowd, everyone totally hyped up. He made one fatal error. Let's see if he can recover.
It was a first down at midfield. 17 all the score. Brister going long and has an open man, Lips, and he misses. Lewis Lips was open, and so was Ouija Thompson. They had two men deep against one defender, Dennis Smith.
Everybody seemed to relax on the Denver side, working straight up the field. Everybody just sort of slows down and look to the outside. What a play. Braxton saw Turner inside, and there's a big hole outside.
So Brister had a chance there, but overshot the mark, and he said that he felt badly about that last week in Houston. Sometimes they get too excited, said Bubby. But he's showing the arm, and there's his offensive coordinator. Quite a prediction. He'll be the premier quarterback in 92, says this man. Hodge, trapped in the backfield, just does get back to the line of scrimmage. Holmes and Mecklenburg collaborated on the stop. It was Holmes who made the big play.
Hodge that time ran the same play. He got that 50-yard runoff against Houston, but that time there's just too much penetration up the field.
Well, this is the fifth Pittsburgh Steeler to go down today. 3 of them have returned. Malarkey has not, and now tackle John Jackson receives some attention. 10:20 remaining in the 3rd period. Place at the wrong time, and will get pinned from behind as the tackle is made, and it's his right knee that takes the blow, and he's attended to on the sidelines.
The exact injury Bubba Paris had as a rookie. He had major knee surgery because of it. Touching the back of the legs.
It looks as if Jackson's is not that serious. Wolfley replaces him. Brister, 3rd and 10 down the middle, complete. Mark Stock, who had only 4 receptions all season, a rookie from BMI, and another line drive throw by Bubby Brister.
That was a beautiful shot, Dick. And the catches these guys are making, they're really into the game because they know there's going to be contact on these guys as they catch the ball. Good pass protection. That's what he's been getting all day. He drills that ball, but look at the concentration on the catch. Because so often you're sitting back there with Atwater and Smith to make the big hit on you when you make contact with the ball. Not so for Pittsburgh. These guys are really concentrating.
After giving up the cheap touchdown, a quick touchdown after a fumble in one play, Brister trying to drive the Steelers back into the lead. Flag is down, and apparently the dead ball foul as they've whistled a dead.
False start, 62 offense before the snap. 5-yard penalty and still 1st down.
Ron Chilkin, a Pro Bowler for the 2nd time at 6'3" and 255, Indiana State.
He is really active. Really active athlete. This looked like it was going to develop into a pretty good call. But just a little bit of movement prior to the snap. Because it's vital here that Pittsburgh gets away with at least 3 points. They can't afford not to make points right now. Denver got that momentum going. If Pittsburgh can just stall it off with a field goal, they'll be better.
Thompson left, Lips right. The young tandem of Hodge and Worley behind Brister. It's a draw or a trap, another one of those traps, and it's Hodge again. Holmes made the tackle. They got the 5 back. They lost on the 1st down penalty.
Hodge has a sort of a sixth sense about finding his way between people. An excellent inside runner. He reminds me a lot of Roger Craig, instinct-wise. He's got that power. So he's really a guy that's going to be there for a long time.
They've been watering the field all week long, and as we saw Elway slip earlier, at both ends, the middle of the field seems to be dry and fast, but when you get to the 20 on either end, sod is being torn up, and it seems inordinately slippery. Only 6 seconds on the 45-second clock. 3. Brister gets it off. Guns incomplete to Lips, who was drilled at the 10-yard line by Tyrone Braxton.
Brister was a count late with the throw. Still could have been a completion, but that count late really made a difference because the defenders were right with him all over. Now the ball should be getting there now. Still not there. Now by the time it gets there, there are the defenders. That's the difference. Just maybe 0.2 of a second, and that's what will be a difference, I think, for Brister further into his career. Just a little more anticipation.
John Jackson, the left tackle, has returned to the lineup for the Steelers. 3rd down, a long 10.
They can't afford a sack.
Stone breaks a tackle. It's knocked out of bounds after a gain of 2. Randy Robbins, an extra defensive back, number 48.
Brister was really tagged on that. A screen pass, which isn't necessarily a great call in that situation, because if you take a loss, it just takes you further from the field goal. Now we'll take a look at him. He's holding the ball. There's the shot. Knocks him down. Just sort of an average hit for Mecklenburg. He probably doesn't even know he did it.
All right, here's Gary Anderson trying one from 36 yards. Actually 35 officially. And Anderson is 6'4", 35 yards for Gary Anderson, who is kicking for his father, his coach, who watches in San Diego. The Steelers are in front again. Stadium, 75,000 fans have been entertained with some mile-high drama. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, heavy underdogs, have the lead again, 2017. Gary Anderson's kick sailing left. Bell lets it go. It hits the pylon, and so that'll be a touchback at the 20 for the Broncos.
Well, the onus is now right back on Elway's shoulders. At 3 points against this defense is going to be tough.
Tonight on NBC, a great lineup. Immediately following our game, it's A Brand New Life, followed by Ann Jillian and Sister Kate. Hope you'll see more action than our shows tonight than we saw in that little scuffle. At 9 p.m., 8 Central and Mountain, NBC presents a world premiere miniseries based on the true story, courage of DEA agents exposing billionaire drug lords. It's a terrific show, Drug Wars, the Camarena story, powerful and real, beginning tonight only on NBC. Vance Johnson, who caught that 37-yard touchdown pass from Elway, comes out to the left as Elway sets up shop at his own 20. Steve Sewell. He traps Humphrey, gets nothing. Steelers waiting for that. Tim Johnson, a third-year man from Penn State, number 78, there first.
There's a little confusion. I'm not sure confusion, but whatever it was in the secondary, both safeties for Pittsburgh that time almost ran into each other deep. So whatever calls they're making, they made another mistake. And that's the same kind of thing that happened for that touchdown a little bit earlier to Johnson. So look for Elway to run the same kind of a play pass and go down the middle on these guys.
Humphrey, the lone running back behind Elway. That's Sewell in motion. And into the pass pattern. Look at the time. Almost intercepted by Hardy Nickerson.
Well, Elway just waited too long to throw the football. I'm not sure he had anybody open, but he telegraphed exactly where that ball was going to go for a full second and a half. So everybody was poised to jump and try to block it or get an interception. If you see John looking left, sitting there watching. Now by the time he throws it, everybody's in the picture. You had 3 people in position to make an interception. That's why it's so critical to time these patterns out. And of course, that's why Joe Montana and his coaches and players are so absolutely phenomenal.
Are the 49ers any good, you think? I mean,
well, they don't get any notoriety.
Oh my. 3rd and 10 Elway. He's going to run it, and he's got room. 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards, 32 for Elway.
Pittsburgh has been playing a very, very docile vanilla defense. This time they jumped man-to-man and brought a defensive back, Rod Woodson. So Rod Woodson's going to blitz from the outside. Everybody else is locked up man-to-man. So Elway's going to take the ball, and there's no one there because everybody's looking the other way, covering the receiver. See the big hole in the defense. Now everyone's chasing somewhere else. No one can even tell he's running with the ball yet. There's still people looking the other way.
Wayne Woodruff finally got on the back of Elway. First down at the 48 of the Steelers, and Elway deep down the middle. Intercepted! Thomas Everett. Everett at the 40. Everett at the 50. And the Steelers have their first turnover of the game. Thomas Everett, who had 3 interceptions during the regular season.
Well, this is how Pittsburgh plays you. We talked about it before the game started. They're going to keep the heat on you, keep the pressure on you, and if some point you crack, they win. That's exactly what happened last week, and it may be happening now. Again, Elway sort of telegraphing the throw, holding it and watching. Then when he drills it, there's just a little bit high. We've got 2 people in position to make the stop. Hinkle was right there. Now the key at this point is to hold on to the ball as a defensive back.
And Everett has it at the 48-yard line, a 25-yard return. His brother also in the National Football League with the Philadelphia Eagles, Eric, a cornerback. They're from Dangerfield, Texas. They're earning some respect down there in Dangerfield. Brister throws this one away as Michael Brooks was breathing into his face mask. And Brister said, yeah, I got a guy right over there. Can't you see him?
It may have been a screen pass. It looked like it was. But have they reversed themselves on this call, Dick? Early in the year, they had taken steps to stop that. They made some calls. They were unpopular. Now they won't call anything related to throwing the ball away.
Dan Reeves, and in talking with him yesterday, he admitted he still cannot maintain his total composure when it comes to the officials, but then what head coach can? This stadium in a rumble on 2nd and 10. And it's Worley, the rookie, to the 42. A gain of 6. Tyrone Braxton, not very big, 5'11" and 174, made the tackle.
I don't think Chuck Noll's going to be looking for running backs in the near future unless they're backup kind of people, because Worley, with his power, he fell forward 4 yards that time. And Hodge on the other side doing the same thing. 225-pound backs that run north and south.
Worley complimenting Hodge. Hodge has over 100, 111. 4 wide receivers with Hodge back on the left side of Brister. Brister down the middle, complete. First down. It's to Hodge. Boy, he has good hands as well, and Brister takes a good pop. Carl Mecklenburg. And Brister is hurt.
Mecklenburg's going to be playing defensive end in a nickel defense, coming up on the outside, and he's going to make a move all the way around, and he makes that big shot. Now well, no, it was a good, solid play. He's a sportsman, because he could have really leveled Brister that time.
Mecklenburg, who said, I never really started at anything in high school. I couldn't really play hockey or basketball or football till I was a senior. Went to a small college, eventually transferred to Minnesota. Very late draft pick by the Broncos. On first down, Hodge for a couple. Brooks the tackle.
This has to be the best passing day as far as effectiveness that Pittsburgh's had all year. I haven't seen all of them. We haven't researched them all, but this is very, very good because the ball is being caught when it's been thrown accurately. People aren't getting the ball knocked loose. They're not dropping anything. They're making their plays in a real intense situation.
Having trouble getting the play, Brister, whose close buddy is Hodge, by the way. It's an unlikely partnership. Hodge, a devout Mormon, doesn't drink, very careful about his dating patterns. Brister loves the ladies, has been known to enjoy a libation or two, and yet they have formed a very solid friendship off the field. In fact, he said, the only thing bad about these playoffs, we had to put off our duck hunting. We're going to go off and duck hunting, Merrill and me.
Well, they maybe have a few more weeks. They're busy here.
Next Sunday, NBC Sports Indeed will present the AFC Championship game. The Cleveland Browns against either the Steelers or the Denver Broncos. Of course, Cleveland winning yesterday 34-30. The AFC Championship game coming your way next Sunday afternoon on NBC Sports. Check your local listings for the time in your area. I don't know if they've sorted that out yet. The 49ers also will be a home team, and there was some talk that the game, well, of course, if Cleveland hosts it, will be an early game, a 1 o'clock Eastern game. If it's here in Denver, should Denver beat Pittsburgh today, then they might be looking at an 11 o'clock kickoff. We'll give you that information officially as soon as we receive it.
Well, this is a different Pittsburgh team than other people have seen all year, including Cleveland.
Including us.
Including us.
Pittsburgh now has used 2 timeouts, and that may haunt Noll later should he get in a close game and have to come from behind late. But right now he doesn't want any mistakes. 2nd down 7. Almost in, well, they are in Anderson's field goal range even now. Fake to Worley. Screen to Hodge with blockers. And it's well read. Coming up was Wyman Henderson, the right corner. Did he do a solid job with plenty of white shirts in his pants?
Well, it looked as though Dawson, number 63, was well downfield before that ball was thrown. The play was well timed. It looked like he was well down the field, and like apparently he wasn't spotted.
A gain of only a couple. The ball just inside the 29, so it's 3rd down and short 4.
You see the counter play faked. Now the center moving to his left. The ball is thrown, and it looked as though he's downfield right there, number 63.
Henderson comes out. Darren Carrington replacing him, and here's Hodge with a flag down, and Hodge running right over his own man and is right at the yardsticks. Ron Holmes makes the tackle, but 2 flags are down.
Looked like there was movement, Dick. The crowd noise got to the Pittsburgh team that time. They couldn't hear the snap count.
Yeah, backfield in motion or illegal motion.
They just couldn't hear.
So instead of a first down, Hodge.
Illegal motion, left side of the offensive line. 5-yard penalty will replay the third down.
You'll see people moving. They can't hear it. Just takes one person to sort of trigger it. Then everybody moves because there's a lot of intensity. There's a pretty physical encounter you're about to go into. You can move early.
Is that one of the reasons you didn't like the shotgun?
We didn't use the shotgun. These kind of stadiums really hurt it. But, of course, it's just one incident, and they're going to go right back to it. This crowd is really noisy, really noisy.
On 3rd and 8, Brister complete to Dwight Stone, and a first down at the 23 in front of Randy Robbins.
Gee, he really gets the ball there. Really gets the ball there.
He was a baseball star in high school and drafted by the Tigers as a shortstop outfielder. Boy, he has a Dwight Evans, if you want to really go back in Tiger lore, a Rocky Colavito line. He can gun it.
This is the same play that scored earlier going the other way in the first half. He releases up, and there's a big hole in the defense right there because Denver's still sorting people out to cover. So the man in motion just stops and pivots, and they lose track of receivers.
Stone in motion. Hodge up the middle. He's hit and gains 3 yards after the contact. From the 20, he gets it in almost to the 17.
Hodge was at the 20, Dick, as you point out. He stopped at the 17-yard line. Now, that is really driving forward. Both of these guys.
Yeah, his rookie year in '87, he had only 3 rushes. He was a special teams player. Then last year, he led the Steelers with 705 yards. And this year, he finished second to Tim Worley when he gained 621. But he had 100 yards against Houston and 119, best ever against Denver this season. On 2nd and 6, closer to 6th and 5. Worley cutting inside and gains a couple. It'll be about 3rd and 2.5. Mecklenburg and Munford make the tackle as we see the final seconds tick away in this 3rd quarter. The Steelers had every opportunity to fold emotionally, this young team, when they lost a fumble by Worley, and Elway immediately hit on a 37-yard touchdown to Vance Johnson. But the Steelers came back, engineered a drive, got a field goal, regained the lead, and here they are marching deep into Dan Reeves' territory again.
15 minutes going all the way back to early July. These people have worked. Dan Reeves has worked every day, these coaches every day for 6 months.
And Chuck Noll still with a heartbeat around 60. We go to the 4th of the playoffs and the culmination of all the work of a season falling on the shoulders of Dan Reeves and his counterpart Chuck Noll across the way. We go to the 4th period. Dick Enberg with Bill Walsh. Pittsburgh, the underdog, leading by 3, and have a 3rd down and a long 2 inside the 15 of Denver. Brister has it knocked down by Simon Fletcher. Fletcher is 6'6".
Well, that was the key play because now 3 points isn't going to really devastate Denver. They've got the great passer and receivers. They can score a touchdown if they just keep their poise. They just can't leave their game plan. Now that was a big play by Fletcher. Coming up the field, batting that ball right back in the face of Brister.
And Gary Anderson from 32 yards goes for 6 straight in the playoffs. Oh, and he is dead center.
What rhythm. Beautiful. Right down the middle.
Anderson, the only place kicker to make the Pro Bowl twice from the AFC side in the 80s, and it's a 6-point lead. It's a touching story. Gary Anderson and his father Doug. And now the timeout. Comes Elway. The Broncos down by 6.
Well, Elway's done it any number of times from here and even driven further back. He can get it done. But right now they're depending almost totally on what they did in mini camps, what they did in training camp, and all the way through the season. It's a good burst up the field. They've got good field position related to a kickoff return.
Bobby Humphrey has not been used much since the first quarter. They've gone away from that game plan. Elway to throw. Oh, lots of time. Incomplete. Intended for Vance Johnson. Well covered by Dwayne Woodruff.
Well, that was the third potential receiver for Elway. He didn't want to throw the ball over there. They had a pattern that was going to break down the zone defense, but Rod Rush's defense just clung right to the receivers. They really had that pattern scouted. Just nowhere to throw the ball.
The interception against Elway by Everett led to the last field goal, as Gary Anderson has kicked 3 today. Bubby Brister's come up with the big plays when he's needed them, and the Steelers hanging on to a 23-17 lead early in the fourth quarter. Fake toss, inside handoff to Sewell, and he's across the 35. Brian Hinkle was not fooled on the play. David Little on the assist.
That inside reverse is sort of tough now because people aren't moving quite as quickly as they would be early in the game. So everybody was sort of sitting there, just getting on track when Sewell hit the line of scrimmage. First quarter, maybe second quarter, might have been a little better call. But right now, they're pulling out everything. They want to make a play. And you can get so anxious. There's still 14 minutes, but so anxious because you don't want to give up the ball.
Third down along 4. Michael Young, the top third down receiver, is the man to the bottom of your screen. Elway going to run it. No, stops, guns, and hits Young. No, yes it is Michael Young at the 45-yard line. And a first down for Denver.
Did Elway have to maneuver that time? All 4 pass rushers put a pretty even level of pass rush on him. So he had to make a real quick move right up over the ball to get any kind of throwing room. You see, here it is. He's just going to move forward to make his throw. He couldn't have run that time because they were just sitting there waiting for him.
And Young, again, as he did in the first half, comes up with that third down reception, and the drive is still alive. 13 minutes, 15 seconds left in the fourth period. Elway to the sidelines to Vance Johnson. And another first down as he's dragged out of bounds at the Pittsburgh 43.
Every Friday, every week, every Friday, they practice a 2-minute offense. And this is a form of it where they're going to throw virtually every down. Here's a well-timed throw. You don't just realize how many times they've thrown that pass, those 2 people, and had that protection. So all of their work is boiling down to the last 13 minutes of the season.
Vance Johnson was a running back at Arizona. He says, I'm just starting to feel comfortable as a wide receiver, I should say. 76 catches this year. Humphrey, somewhat forgotten, gets to the 39, maybe the 38. Little and Lloyd, the linebackers on the tackle.
Just have to keep maneuvering down, settle for a field goal if they have to, because they can get another one and tie it up if necessary. But what they can't do is turn that ball over without some kind of score.
Well, it could be a wild Sunday for the wild card teams. The Rams have beaten the Giants, and here in beautiful Colorado, it's wild card Pittsburgh ahead by 6. 12 minutes to go. Elway on 2nd and 7, going down the sidelines to Sewell, and overthrown. Carnell Lake, the rookie, on the coverage. That's something they wanted to do today, isolate Sewell on Lake.
Well, Lake has the speed. He doesn't have a lot of technique, but he's right up on a super swift man, and now he pushes him, just knocks him slightly off balance. There isn't anywhere to go. But Elway wasn't looking to throw there initially. He was looking inside, and that was sort of a late desperation shot along the sideline. He wanted to throw inside. He's getting good protection. He was able to do that again. Look inside, no receiver, hold the ball, throw late to someone else.
Lake, a linebacker at UCLA, and now playing strong safety in the NFL as a rookie. On 3rd down.
A lot of protection.
Elway gets out again. And can't get away from Gerald Williams, the rookie from Purdue. He's shy of the first down.
Williams really got going on that. That was life or death, because Elway was going to get the first down. He hadn't gotten there.
And now a decision for Dan Reeves on 4th down.
Well, here comes Sewell. Elway almost trapped, getting outside, but look at the speed coming from in behind him just to save the first down.
It's 4th down and 4, and Reeves says go for it.
Well, he must really respect that Pittsburgh offense.
No, Elway, that's a little pooch
nice
punt.
little shot.
No one back, and so, but it takes a Pittsburgh bounce and comes out to the 18. It appeared to be trickling on its way inside the 10, but had a back roll on it, and the Steelers have stopped Denver's Dan Reeves again, and the front Dennis Smith all in on the tackle, as well as Greg Friggin.
Well, I'm sure right now that on the sideline, Tom Moore, the offensive coordinator, is probably signaling over there to use as much of the clock as you can. Brister holding that snap to take every second away from Elway they can get.
Chuck Noll, Cleveland born and raised, went to Dayton University, drafted by the Browns. He was an undersized guard and linebacker for Paul Brown. Look at Brister going down the offensive line to call the play and fairly changing at the last minute. 3rd and 8. Underneath. It's Hodge again, and he didn't quite get to the yardsticks. He fumbled after he hit the ground at the 41-yard line, and he must be exhausted. Another 8 yards for Hodge. He's caught 8 passes for 59 yards. He's rushed for 120 yards. What a day.
Well, that stamina that Chuck talked about, they're still going to him, and he's still quick enough to make a tough catch. Now he's breaking between people. The ball came out when he hit.
Mark Haynes and Tyrone Braxton teaming up on the tackle. 4th and 1 for Noll, and in comes Harry Newsom. Vance Johnson back at the 15. Newsom dropped a punt in the earlier season game here in Denver that led to a Pittsburgh demise. It's Johnson on the run, then fumbles the ball. Did he cover it? Yes. At the 29-yard line.
Well, decent field position to make their plays.
Only the second punt of the day by the Steelers.
That ball was really falling in a strange way. Oh, he dropped it immediately.
Timeout, 7:06 to go.
He's winning like the heartbeat of America.
Elway on first down, being chased from behind. Gets it away. Is it complete? No. Trapped by Mark Jackson, and a flag is down.
Things start going wrong in a situation like this. It brings me right back to 1987 with Minnesota. You know you're the better team. You're the stronger team. You're the best team in football. But on that given day, execution by Minnesota, plus that, you start getting frantic.
Ineligible downfield on the forward pass. Number 67, 10-yard penalty. Will replay the first down.
Well, you get movement early, and these are the kind of things that happen right here. A man moves a little bit early, and if he's maybe downfield, but he threw a block. Now, the rule is if you can make contact within about a yard of the line of scrimmage and throw a block and stay on the ground, they won't call it. Very technical call.
So, 10-yard penalty, illegally downfield, 1st and 20. And Elway, is the pressure now starting to be felt by Denver. Hits one. Jackson almost broke that one for a long one. Rod Woodson was the last Steeler. First down, they pick up 21 yards. Oh, wait, no, he was spotted at the 39, so it's a 19-yard play.
Just a push straight up the field. Elway's at his best when he can throw that ball, drill that ball down inside. And Woodson really can't do much about that. The ball's thrown between him and the receiver, so he just can't make a move on the ball. Got real lucky there because that ball, that could have gone all the way.
And it appears to be enough for a first down. I guess not. By a length, it is not. Let's go back to drawing the comparison between the 49ers, Minnesota, and this game. You know, one of the things the Steelers were talking about, they said, well, wild card disadvantage on the road, but we played last week. They were hoping that Denver, with 2 weeks off, even though they had a lot of time to prepare, might have lost some of their sharpness.
Well, it's always possible. Again, going back to 87, which is a classic case, we worked too long and too hard preparing for that game because we were preparing not only for it, but for future games. So the same sort of dynamics could be a factor here for Denver.
Here's Here's the flea flicker back to Elway, and he's throwing long for Johnson. He's got it! What a catch at the 27-yard line.
That was the old flea flicker, handoff, pitch back, practiced over and over, but that time Everett had a good position. Everett saw the play. Thomas Everett, 27, but Johnson's speed had built up. You see Everett in position, but now the speed starts showing up. Everett looks tired right now. He looks tired.
So trailing 23-17. Denver has a first down at the 27 of the Steelers, and here's Bobby Humphrey. Close to 5 yards before Brian Hinkle and Carnell Lake. No, it's Everett who helps out on the tackle. And you're right, Everett, as he gets up, pulling at his toes as if he was cramping.
Yeah, he just wasn't running at all trying to make that play, because two defenders down the field saw that flea flicker play developing, and they still couldn't stop it. That shows you where demonstrates the fatigue that sets in, because your emotions run so high, you really use up energy.
And here in the high altitude, of course, Pittsburgh foreign to that. 2nd and 6, little delay, and it's Humphrey inside the 15, first down.
Really well done by Juriga, 66, and Perry, 60, pulling and going up the field. They both pulled and came down the line of scrimmage. You see them right there, turning back in, going up the field. Two excellent moves that knocked people out of there and gave Humphrey a chance to split people.
Bobby Humphrey, the leading rusher for the Broncos on the season, 61 yards today. And Chuck Noll's team now digging in, trying to protect a 6-point lead, but Denver building momentum. Humphrey again to the 9-yard line before Carnell Lake can wrestle him down with Everett helping out.
Well, there's some real emotion developing, sort of building up inside these people. That time, both safeties, Everett and Lake, became real emotional and almost got themselves in some trouble with it. They're frustrated right now. You see them setting up inside. Both are making a good stop. Then there's a spin-off. They both were halfway mad at each other for such a collision. But again, there's frustration at this point. If you can't think clearly, you get in deep trouble.
4:23 left in the fourth quarter. 2nd and 4. Humphrey. All the way to the 1-yard line. 1st and goal, Denver.
Right now, Denver is blocking Pittsburgh because the safeties are making all the stops. There they are again. That time Woodson, the corner, and Lake both had to make the stop.
They spotted at the 2-yard line. 4 chances to take the lead for the Broncos. It's Winder, a tailback, Bratton, the fullback. Winder, whoa, hit in the backfield for a loss. Carnell Lake, the rookie, charging in from a safety spot. Rod Woodson helping out.
They blitzed on the outside with defensive backs and got to the ball carrier before he could get to the line of scrimmage. You see the people coming all the way from the outside, getting into the play. Little was there, and on the outside, the defensive back.
That was Rod Woodson from the far side, and Lake came right up the middle. A loss of a yard, 2nd and goal. Bratton and Winder behind Elway. Bratton, is he in? No, stopped inside the 1. On Monday night, the fans of Colorado will well remember the lost opportunity by the Buffaloes in the first half against Notre Dame in the Orange Bowl. Stopped 4 times from the 1, and the Irish would go on to upset the hopes of the Buffaloes and Colorado fans for a national title. And now, 3rd and goal for Elway from just inside the 1.
Elway and Reeves are famous for bootlegs and play passes in this situation.
It's Bratton, touchdown! Denver Broncos have driven from their own 29-yard line on a game that will decide an opponent for Cleveland, and it may well be a drive that will take them to the AFC Championship game. It's tied now at 23. Treadwell to give the Broncos the lead. But it ain't over yet. 2:27 to go, and now it'll be the Steelers' chance, and they only need a field goal to win.
Well, this is something that Pittsburgh has not been able to do that well all year. It's a so-called two-minute offense. A young team, a little bit weary now, especially their running backs. Here's a good shot at it up the field, and they just dominate the line of scrimmage. Pat Kelly blocking out to the outside was there.
And Dan Reeves, who has been sweating this one out, finally sees his team fight to the lead.
Well, Pat Kelly did a great job of blocking. The man right in front of me had a big linebacker.
Oh, he must be a great poker player, Chuck Noll. He hides all emotions. Now, Bubby Brister, who says, I love it. This is what I dreamed about doing, has a chance to be a hero for Pittsburgh. He'll get the opportunity. Remember, they've used 2 of their timeouts. There's 2:27 left. And Rod Woodson, the NFL's top kick returner, is deep for the Steelers. He averaged over 27 yards a kick return and had 1 for a touchdown. And he'll take the touchback. Good kick by Treadwell. Sent a knuckleballer down low, and Woodson couldn't handle it.
This is where planning comes in, because Tom Moore there with Brister, they just have to look at a plan and repeat plays they've worked on. To try to decide what to do now is brutal, because you just can't think clearly down on that field with that tremendous din of the crowd in your ear. So he's got to be looking at a list, what they plan to do with 2 minutes to go, down by 1 point.
With only 1 timeout remaining, it takes a little bit of the running game away, but they only have to get into field goal range to win.
The shotgun is tough now. You can see Dawson couldn't hear the snap count.
Down the middle, dropped. Mark Stock had it right in his hands and couldn't hang on.
He was looking down the field before he took his eye off the ball. You'll see him coming in motion, then breaking right up in a big hole, and they fake back here a toss play so that they corralled everybody up close. Big hole, but he took his eye off the ball because he wanted to run with it before he caught it. There it is. Look and see him take his eye off the ball.
And Dennis Smith was there to give him a pop, and Bubby wanted that one. That would have been good for nearly 20. You can feel the stadium vibrating from the fans' reaction. Brister, incomplete. Lewis Lips was coming back to help out, but Ron Holmes was pressuring Brister.
Now this is really tough because with 1 timeout remaining, Denver, if they do punt the ball, most likely won't get it back again. So they may have to go for it on 4th down, even though they're backed up like this. They've used their timeouts.
What a gallant effort by the Chuck Noll Steelers. But they're in trouble now at their own 20, 3rd and 10. He wants his lineman to get down and get set. And there's the problem. He couldn't hear. And Denver has the ball. Well, that's why Joe Montana doesn't use the shotgun.
exactly it right there. It comes down to a given play. Too much noise. They can't hear the snap count.
Now look at Brister. Well, he was trying to get the attention of his line to set up. Then the snap came and handcuffed him. Merrill Hodge couldn't pick it up. And it appeared to be Randy Robbins who covered it for the Broncos.
Well, for Reeves, the Denver crowd helped him most likely win this game.
And of course, what started in preseason as a rule to take away such an advantage, especially in dome stadiums for the noise when the opposing quarterback couldn't hear, that one melted into the atmosphere because they don't call it at all. In fact, we've heard many coaches say it's actually worked really to our disadvantage, thinking they would help us out, and they'd call a 5-yard delay penalty on us. Here comes Humphrey. They're trying to steal the ball. And that'll take us to the 2-minute timeout. Now, many thought it a miracle for the Steelers to even get into these playoffs, and they need a miracle play now with Denver in control.
They can force Denver to kick a field goal. There still will be less than a touchdown that they have to make up. So they're still, in a sense, in the ball game.
Second down and 6. And so now let's go quiet throwaway. Humphrey plowing off left tackle for a couple.
They'll get the ball back.
They use their final timeout with 1:49 to go, and Denver sitting at the Steeler 12-yard line. Bubby, Brister's father and mother, center of your picture.
How the emotions can go from swinging one way to the other in a 3 to 4 hour football game. It's just amazing. You can be absolute frustrated, depths of dejection on the sideline, and one fumble can change your whole season.
Third down along 4. Steelers don't have a timeout. If they can stop the Broncos, they'll force a field goal here. So a big play. First down, it's over. And the Steelers appear to be offside. Humphrey has the first down anyway as he fights to the 6-yard line. And this rookie from Alabama, what a player, what an addition he has been to this Denver team. The Elway count had the Steelers off balance, and Humphrey driving for his 85th yard of the game after a slow start. He has been tough in this fourth quarter, and now there's no way that the Steelers can stop the clock. And for John Elway, he's in a position now of not having to take any chances.
That last defense Rod Rush called, you know, often it might be just as well to put your goal line defense in a situation like that. If they break it and score, you've lost anyway. But get enough people in there at the line of scrimmage to cut things off.
We now hear officially that the championship game, Cleveland at Denver, and it's a rematch of what has become a terrific series, and they'll go at it again. The winner to the Super Bowl will start at 11 o'clock here in Denver. 11 o'clock start next week. That means 10:30. That's 1:30 Eastern time will be the kickoff. 1:30 Eastern time. And San Francisco and the Rams will play a 5 o'clock game Eastern time. And there's the final play. The Steelers were the opponents, and Bubby Brister living up to the hopes of the Pittsburgh fans in the 90s. And the Broncos, the best in the AFC, needed all they could muster to rally to win by one, 24-23. It'll be all orange next Sunday, and the collaboration of Reeves and Bolin waits for the Browns. Record in the AFC, the Broncos, and holding firm And Dan Reeves' team able to get the breaks at the end and take advantage 24-23. And now it's time for the Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser. Today's MVP is Merrill Hodge from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of the MVP selected in this weekend's games.